Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, as you, I'm sure, are well aware from the title of this video, I've decided to do a little project pan. And now, if you watch my videos, if you've been watching them for a while now, you're probably aware I'm not a big project panner, mostly because I learned last year that I really suck at it. I have so much respect for people that do regular pans and that are able to use up their makeup. I find it to be so difficult. I'm very light-handed with my application. I'm one of those people that tries to pick up every last little bit of powder that fluffs off of a compact with my brush so I don't waste anything, which on one hand is great, but on the other means that it takes me a literal century, it feels like, at least sometimes, to actually finish any of the makeup that I own. But I do really think that it's important to try to utilize things that we have on hand and not just always be buying new. Makeup doesn't last forever, it expires. So one of the things I started doing this year was trying to do a regular everyday makeup drawer, shop my stash, trying to rotate through my existing collection to get use out of products that I've had for a while. And when I was prepping for my everyday makeup drawer for this month, one of the things I noticed is that I have quite a few little minis and sample sizes of a lot of different products. And then I had a light bulb moment and realized, why don't I do a project pan of mini things? If I know it's unrealistic for me to pan a full-size blush, a full-sized highlight, a full-size bronzer, why not give myself a challenge that's actually somewhat more realistic? Maybe get myself excited and motivated to pan more often. So that is exactly what I am doing. I took out all of the minis, all the little travel sizes from my entire makeup collection. I put them all on my desk here. I'm going to show you what I have on hand, and I'm going to challenge myself for the next 30 days or so to try to use up as many of these things as possible. And mini makeup especially, I feel is deceiving. There is so much more product often in a mini version of a product than we think. You can get so many uses out of them, but I feel they are definitely a little bit easier to pan than their full-size counterparts. So with that being said, let me show you my mini makeup collection, what I have on hand, and as we go through it, I'll kind of pinpoint some specific products I'd like to try to finish first, but ultimately, the more I can do, the better. So first up are my little mini primers, powders, complexion-y type products. I have had these two little primer samples sitting on my vanity for months now, and they both feel pretty light, but they definitely have a few uses left in them, so these need to go in the next 30 days. This is the Yensa Tone Up Essential Glow Primer. This one I remember being more of a hydrating skincare-esque primer. And then the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer. This is a smoothing primer. This one's similar to the Benefit Professional, but a little less sticky and thick. So hopefully we'll finish these guys up. And then I also have a mini of the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. Now, this is one of those things that I feel I use sparingly because I like it a lot, and it's very expensive, and I don't really want to have to go out and buy the full size. But ultimately, it's makeup. It doesn't last forever. I just need to use this guy up whether I like it or not. And if I love it that much by the time I use this whole thing, then maybe we can consider buying the full size. Or I believe they have now a mini version. This was just a sample, a free sample I got with a Sephora order. So the mini, I think, is a few times larger than this, but still less than half of the full size. So that may be a good option if I do actually want to go out and buy it. So long story short, this is a very luxurious and expensive primer. It is silicone based, so it does kind of fill in your pores and blur things out, but Tatcha is a skincare brand, so there are a lot of good skincare-esque ingredients in this formulation as well. A little goes a long way with this, and that's why, even though I've used this many times, there's still quite a bit left in this jar. So I don't know how quickly or easily I'll be able to actually get through this whole thing, but I feel like I should probably start trying. And then this guy, I don't think I'm actually going to try to pan, but it is technically a mini, so I wanted to show it to you guys. This is the Too Faced Primed and Peachy Cooling Matte Skin Perfecting Primer. This is brand new. You guys are about to see me do a haul video actually tomorrow. I just filmed it. before I filmed this video. So I'll be sharing this and other products that I picked up during the Sephora VIB sale that just happened. So I'm not in a rush to like blow through this since I just got it. And it also is more of like a travel size, so it's a bit more substantial than like one of these little babies. Then I have this guy that's been sitting around for way too long. It's the Urban Decay Quick Fix Hydra-Charged Complexion Prep Priming Spray with niacinamide, coconut water, and Sepitonic M3. I have no idea what that is. So this little dude is probably less than halfway full, and some of these little sprays have a deceiving amount of product in them, so I have no idea how long it's going to take for me to finish it, but I would like to also try to blow through this in the next month. I never find myself using priming sprays, but they are nice as like the very, very first step to doing your makeup before you go in with a like silicone or smoothing type of primer. It just kind of rehydrates the skin, especially if it's been a little while since you put on all your skincare. So I have no idea if this is going to make any kind of real big difference to my makeup in the long run, but we'll use it up. And then I've got two mini powders here that I also have had for way too long. This first one is the Cover FX Matte Setting Powder. Now I'm also trying to pan my full size of the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder, so it would be ideal if I could finish both of them up in the next month or so. But I do have to say, I like the matte better than the Perfect Setting Powder, only because I have really oily skin. I feel like this one definitely does kind of minimize shine for a lot longer than the Perfect Setting Powder. But if you are someone that's more normal to dry, the Perfect Setting Powder is beautiful. It's very blurring on the skin. It's not too heavy. It doesn't change the color of your foundation or concealer underneath. It's really, really nice. I just have had both of them for way too long in my collection, so I'm just trying to use them up and move on to other things. And then this little itty bitty baby here is a mini of the Laura Mercier Loose Setting Powder in the shade Translucent that everybody raves about constantly. And honestly, I think the reason why I still have this is that it is impossible to get product out of these tiny little holes in here. I feel like you tap it and you tap it and you tap it and nothing comes out. I may need to try to remove the stopper from here, and then I could actually maybe like tap the powder onto a tray or something like that to use it, or into a cap of a different powder. I just feel like, you know, there's not a lot of product in here. I probably will go through it fairly quickly. I just haven't been able to access it, and that's why I think it keeps not being used up. Then we have my mini blushes and highlights. I actually didn't have any mini bronzers. I've either used them all up or decluttered them somewhere along the way, so this is all that remains in my collection. We have a mini of the Tarte Amazonian Clay blush in the shade Feisty. I actually really love this shade, although I don't think it's part of their permanent collection. I don't think you can actually buy this, which is a shame because it's a really pretty kind of like deep peach or like a dusty peach color. I think it's really quite flattering, and I know the times that I've worn this, I've enjoyed it a lot. So as much as it would pain me to like use this up because I wouldn't be able to get it again, I don't really want it to go to waste. My only concern is that this particular blush formula is very potent. You don't need a lot, so it's really hard to pan. The odds of me actually getting through this whole thing in a month is very, very minimal at best, but I would like to make a little bit more progress towards hitting pan at the very least. Then the other mini blush I have is a little tiny size of the NARS Orgasm blush. Now, I almost decluttered this, but then I pulled it out of my declutter bag and put it back in my stash, only because people compare things to this blush all the time, so it is actually nice to have on hand for doing comparison swatches so I can see how similar a drugstore blush is to this guy. So I honestly am not super motivated to actually pan this because I don't even really enjoy wearing it as much. This is more of like a business thing, as you will. As a beauty blogger, it's nice to have a little sample of NARS Orgasm on hand just for comparison purposes. So I'm probably going to pass over utilizing this guy in this project pan, but I did want to show it to you. Then I have 3 mini highlights, the first of which is a Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector. The letters are already starting to rub off the packaging because I've had this for a very long time. Now, this is in the shade Opal, which is so freaking beautiful. I do really love this highlight. It's a very nice sort of neutral champagne tone. I feel like it looks really nice on my skin in the summer months when I have a little bit more of a tan. And since we are slowly approaching the warmer weather, I'm sure this is something I actually would realistically want to reach for in the next month or so. Again, I'm a little concerned about my ability to actually hit pan on this because highlights are just notoriously difficult to pan. A little goes a long way. I don't go crazy overboard with my highlights usually, and this formula is also pretty potent, so we'll see how much of a dent I can make in this. I've used it a bunch already and it barely even looks used, so I don't know how hopeful things are for my being able to pan this anytime in the near future. Then I have a mini of the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt Freestyle Highlighter in the shade Hustle Baby, and this is newer-ish to my collection. I think I picked it up maybe around the holidays, sometime at the end of last year, so it's at max maybe 6 months old at this point, and this also looks like I've barely put a dent in it. It almost looks brand new, but I have used it a bunch as well. This is a more gold toned highlight than Opal is, but it's also really, really beautiful. I enjoy this formula quite a bit, and I am very dubious to my ability to hit pan on this anytime in the near future because it is so new. So I would much rather actually try to pan Opal than I would this. So I'm not going to necessarily put my focus on trying to use this guy in the next month, but it is part of my mini collection. But if there was one thing I really, really wanted to pan from my highlight collection this month, it would be this guy right here. This is a mini of the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops in the shade Moonstone. I almost never wear cream or liquid highlights. It's very, very rare, and this stuff is crazy intense. You need the tiniest little bit, and it goes a very, very long way. It's super reflective, not necessarily metallic, but it gives you like a wet glossy sheen on the skin. It's pretty stunning. But because this is a liquid formula, it definitely does not have the shelf life of a powder highlight, and this is something I've had for eons now, so I really, really should be making more efforts to use it up. I just feel like there's more product in here than you could use in a lifetime. It's so concentrated. I honestly have no idea why anyone would need the actual full size of one of these because it's just so much. It would be too much. So we'll see what I can do with this. We'll see how far I can get using it up, but I feel like there's still a lot to go in here. Then moving on to eye stuff. I didn't have any like mini eyeshadow palettes or miniature eyeshadow singles, but I did have a couple of mini eyeshadow sticks. Both of these are also probably a little bit too old and probably shouldn't be used on my eyes, but they seem all right enough, so I'm willing to chance it. The first one is the Bobbi Brown Long Wear Cream Shadow Stick in the shade Golden Pink. This is really, really beautiful. It's very, very shiny and reflective, kind of has like a rose gold sort of tone to it. So this is the kind of thing that would look beautiful all over the lid or even blended into the inner corner of the eyes. I just always forget to reach for this guy. I forget that I have it. So I feel like this Project Pan challenge will actually be really good for me because then I actually will maybe get some use out of this guy. And just so you guys can see, I twisted it all the way up. This is how much product is left in this tube. So not an insane amount. I feel like sometimes cream shadow sticks can be gone through fairly quickly, so maybe I would actually have a chance at using this up. And then the other one is a Laura Mercier Caviar Eye Stick in the shade Rose Gold. This is a very, very similar tone to the Bobbi Brown one. They are like almost identical. But I think the Laura Mercier is not quite as reflective as the Bobbi Brown. It's a little bit more subtle and subdued. Honestly, now that I'm looking at them swatched next to each other, I think I like the Bobbi Brown better. It's pretty freaking stunning. But I'd like to try to at least get some use out of this guy instead of just throwing it away. This is the amount of product we have left in here, pretty similar to the Bobbi Brown. So if I'm trying to use both of them, it may be difficult to finish the two, but we'll see how much progress I can make at the very least. Then I also have a mini eyeliner. This is from Marc Jacobs. It's one of their Highliner Gel Eye Crayons, and this is just in a black shade. This is one of the best eyeliner formulas ever. I have a couple in full size in like more brown tones, and I absolutely love them. So I can try to make some progress on this little guy. Let's see how much product is in here. Surprisingly a lot. It just keeps going and going. Jeez. Alright, so there is the eyeliner. I feel like this is pretty much brand new for like a mini. I don't think I've used this that much, so there's quite a bit in here. I don't use black eyeliner all that much, so this may be difficult to pan. This may be something I need to use for longer than 30 days, but I definitely should try to at least make some progress on it. And then finally for eyes, I have a mini of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. This stuff is amazing if you have unruly eyebrows. It really does like lock them into place. I've gone through multiple of these mini tubes before in my life. Fun fact, I've never actually bought the full size before because I've had so many minis I haven't had to, but this is the last one. I don't have any other backup, so once this is gone, I either need to bite the bullet or keep my fingers crossed. So I think if I make a concerted effort to use this like every single day, I should be able to go through it fairly quickly. And then finally we have my mini lip products, which, like the rest of my lip collection, is kind of out of control. There is absolutely no way I can pan all of these things, like that would be completely ridiculous. Maybe I can try to pan one of them, but I feel like even that would be kind of a stretch. Regardless, I would like to make an intention to try to use more of my mini lip products in the next month because I have so many of them and I feel like they are definitely the most neglected part of my makeup collection. So I most definitely have the most minis from Bite Beauty. I have five minis of these little Amuse-Bouche liquefied lipsticks. I have like a whole collection of different shades here, and I honestly can't remember the last time I used one of these. It's a nice formula. It's very hydrating, very, very pigmented. It's just a little bit on the messy side. You have to be careful because it can kind of slide around a little bit. It's more of a gloss-like texture. So I should maybe try to give a few of these guys a whirl again, see if I still want to hold on to them. I've had them for quite a while, so I feel like at some point I'm going to need to declutter them, but I'd like to get a little bit more use out of them before I do that. Then I have two little mini Amuse-Bouche lipsticks. One is in the shade Honeycomb. This is how much product we have left in here. Basically almost the whole thing. This is a really beautiful nude shade. Definitely really enjoy this color, and I kind of forgot that it existed. So this is definitely one of my front runners of things I'd like to actually use more. The other shade I have, I think this was a birthday gift from Sephora last year. This is the shade Chai. Pretty much got, again, almost the entire thing. This one's a little bit of a deeper rosy color, but also really, really beautiful. And then I have one of these little matte lip crayons in the shade Glacé, which again, I think was also part of last year's birthday set from Sephora. It's a very similar shade to Chai, but again, it's a little bit more of a matte formula apparently. So this, let's see what we got in here. This actually doesn't have too much left in it. This is something that actually seems somewhat reasonable to be able to finish. Then I have a mini of the Fenty Gloss Bomb, which I bought when I got to the mini highlight. So this is also newer to me. I don't think I'm gonna pan this anytime soon, but I do really love this gloss. Honestly, I'm kind of glad that I got it in the mini because I would never go through the full size, so this is just like perfect to me. I also have 3 mini mint lip glosses from Beauty Junkies. I got sent these in PR. They're like a little set that you can buy. These are really nice. They smell kind of spearminty. They make you feel like you have a little bit like fresher breath when you apply them. And they're all pretty much sheer. They look almost the same on the lips. So they're nice. I haven't been reaching for them a ton though lately, so it would be nice to like try to get some use out of these. But again, I feel like these would be ambitious to try to pan. I have my little baby version. It was a 100-point perk from Sephora of the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lipstick. This is such a beautiful shade. I do really, really love this formula. And this color, pretty similar to everything else I got going on here on my hand. This is the amount of product that I have in this tube. It's not very much, unfortunately. This would be very easy to pan, but I'm not really inclined to because I don't want to use it up that fast, but I suppose I probably eventually should. What I think is one of the oldest things I have here that I most likely should try to get rid of because it's old is this little mini Marc Jacobs, what are they called? Le Marc Lip Cream in the shade Slow Burn. I got this in one of those like lip sets, or I got it in some kind of set from Sephora a while back, so I've had this guy in hand for quite some time now. Probably need to use it up. It is just like everything else, a rosy toned nude. But I've got a decent amount of product left in here actually. This might take me a little bit to go through, so I feel like this probably is what I should focus on first before anything else, just as far as age. I've had it in my collection, but it is probably not going to be as easy to get rid of as Charlotte Tilbury is. And then finally, the last two things are liquid lipsticks. I have a mini of the Huda Beauty Liquid Matte Lipstick in the shade Muse, and then the NARS Velvet Lip Glide in the shade Bound. These are actually very similar colors. They're a little bit more on the cool tone side. Yeah, it's funny, they look almost identical swatched next to each other. I honestly probably need to test these out on my lips and make sure they're actually still good and that they're not off or that they haven't spoiled or anything. Otherwise, I could try to use these guys up because they've been in my collection for a while now. But yeah, I feel like liquid lipsticks are generally a little bit hard to pan because I just don't wear them as often. I wear them every now and again. I feel like I like to reapply regular lipsticks and lip glosses more than I do liquid lipsticks, so they just take me a while to go through. And then as a little added bonus, I actually have a few skincare minis that I want to try to use up. My skincare collection right now is a little bit out of control. I actually am planning on filming a video about my skincare collection, showing you what's in it, and I can show you some of the minis I have on hand as well. But I realized the other day when I was cleaning out my cabinet, kind of getting things organized, that like, I need to start trying some of these minis. I end up hoarding them. I get them as samples when I order things from Sephora or from Ulta, or you get them in like little sets, or you get them in subscription boxes, and I'm really intrigued by them. I want to try them, but then I never actually do. I always end up using my full-size skincare instead. So I decided this is the month. If I'm going to be doing a mini project pan, we're going to actually try to get through some of the mini skincare as well. I actually already started in on these two minis from Youth to the People, the Kale and Green Tea Spinach Vitamins Age Prevention Cleanser, and then the, what is this called? Kale and Spinach Green Tea Hyaluronic Acid Moisturizer. Really liking these so far. They're actually quite nice. Very grassy and herbaceous in scent, so you kind of have to be into like the smell of green juice to like using these. But so far enjoying them, and I should be able to go through and finish these up in the next week or so. Then I also have two products from Kiehl's here, and I actually have never tried a Kiehl's product before, so I think these will be the first ones. But I have the Calendula Deep Cleansing Foaming Face Wash for normal to oily skin, so that sounded interesting. And then this Calendula Herbal Extract Toner that's alcohol-free. So these are meant to go together, so I figured I could try them out hand in hand. And it's cool, there are actual little like flower petals floating inside of this bottle. It's kind of neat, so intrigued to see what I think of these guys. And then finally, I have my mini of the Wander Beauty Dive In Moisturizer. I just got sent the full size of this, and I love this moisturizer so much, but I want to finish up the mini before I crack into my full-size bottle. All right, guys, so those are all of the mini products I have in my makeup collection. I hope you enjoyed seeing them. I'm feeling pretty hopeful for this project pan. Definitely better than I felt about the one that I did last year. I tried to pan 18 full-size products in 2018, and you guys can watch the videos. I will link them for you up here in the cards if you want to check it out and see how I did, but it wasn't the best. But again, I think project panning is amazing, and I admire people that do it, and I would love to be better at it. So I'm hoping that by at least trying to get through some of these minis, I'll feel like I'm making some kind of progress. And I'm gonna try to keep it light and not stress myself out, which is why I'm not necessarily picking specific products or a specific number to have to finish. I just want to try to do the best that I can, use up as much as I can, make some room in my everyday makeup drawer organizer, because so many of these things have been sitting in there for a while. And even though they're minis, I will feel much better knowing that they are not being wasted, that they're being used up, and I'm not just gonna have to like throw them away when they're expired. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. And if you decide you want to join me on this mini project panning challenge, I would absolutely love that. Leave a comment, let me know. If you also have a YouTube channel and you want to film a video, just make sure that you like tag me on Twitter or something, or leave a comment and link it for me so I can go check it out. I would love to watch. Or if you're already in the middle of a project pan, let us know so we can cheer you on. Let's all rally together to use up our makeup, because as much as it is fun to buy new things and try new things, it does feel really good to not be wasteful. And of course, I will definitely keep you guys posted on my own progress in about a month or so, let you know what I was actually able to finish up. But yeah, I think that's about it. So I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.